So, welcome to Powerful Communication Skills for Women in Data. And, really women in data, we're really talking about women in technology. And as a woman in technology myself, a few years ago, I really became interested in this whole topic because over my career, I discovered how important communication was specifically in the field of technology. So we're going to talk about that today. Communication allows us to give and receive information. Communication skills are the ability that you use when giving information and receiving different kinds of information. So it's one of the most important skills, I would say, in IT. And so therefore, it is important to showcase great communication skills to help you advance in your career and also achieve your personal and professional goals. There we go. So normally we have about 7 seconds to make a first impression. I mean, this is what research has shown. So you can understand how important it is to be able to immediately, connect with whomever it is that you're communicating with, because those first 7 seconds are really crucial. They define how the conversation is going to progress. So it's very, very important that you think about that and strive to make a very good first impression from the get-go. So, would you like me to share the secrets to communicating effectively? Drop a yes in the chat if you would like that. Now, I gotta tell you, I really strive on your energy, so I will be asking for a lot of interaction here. This is where I get my own energy. I feed from you, so don't be shy. I may not be able to see all of the messages. I might have to go in and out, but I definitely want to hear from you. So, would you like to learn? Or would you like me to share how to speak up and have influence? Put a yes in the chat if you'd like that. And also, would you like me to share how to have better relationships in your life and career? All right. Let's do that. So, slide. So, good communication is not just talking. It's really about learning how to engage, to listen actively, deeply, and to respond, and also knowing how to give good, productive feedback. Women who aspire to become leaders in technology typically want to strengthen their skills. They're challenged to grow and learn and connect with other like-minded women. And so what can help us gain greater influence, power, and confidence is really the way we communicate. And when I talk about the way we communicate, I mean whether it's verbally, in writing, and especially non-verbally. We'll find out why this is such a big part of communication. Now, for many women, it comes down to plain easy, their communication skills. I'm sorry. A lot of time, especially as women in technology, we think it's really our technical skills. And let me tell you, technical skills, it's great. But I guarantee you, if you are looking to really grow your career in technology, your ability to communicate successfully and in different modalities is very, very important. So again, we're going to talk about the importance of listening, especially facilitating meetings. Again, in technology, it's a big part of the work we do. We're in meetings with teams. It's important that you understand how to best facilitate meetings and also how to participate in other people's meetings. And we're going to talk about how to present information and how to give direction to others, right? So these are the crucial elements that really matter. And, especially when you're trying to set yourself apart from the crowd, and you want to develop greater credibility and influence. So today, we're going to talk about the importance of communication, different communication styles. We're going to look at that. Also, how to find your own voice. This is a big one for us women, especially us women in technology. We're also going to look at the challenges that women in data face. And then I'm going to share my top 5 communication secrets with you. Now, here's something that I've got for you. The end of this presentation, and if you stick till the end, I promise I have a free gift for you, and it's definitely worthwhile. So hang in with me. All right, so now you are about to discover your own personal communication style, how to communicate effectively as a woman in technology, and how to overcome your own communication challenges. Now, my promise to you is that by the end of this presentation, you are going to learn simple but powerful secrets to communicating powerfully in a way that will allow you to have influence and also grow in your career. Now, let's talk about the problem. We're gonna be real here, okay? Women in general, as women, we tend to not speak up. Perhaps it's in our culture, but the challenge that we face in technology is that men in meetings, I've got some statistics here, have shown that men in meetings control the conversation 75% of the time. Men are dominating. They tend to dominate the conversation, and it's hard for women. Now, it's not that it's bad, there's anything wrong with men, it's just the way we're naturally wired, right? And when we look at research, we know that for sure, that men and women our brain are wired differently, and we each have our own natural tendencies, and they're all great. And I think the key is to be able to bridge the two so that we can communicate as women. And there's an area we talk about feminine leadership. There's a lot of talk about communicating as women without having to assume perhaps the personality of a man. So learning to communicate, although we're different, but finding ways to communicate effectively so nobody feels less than, nobody feels left out. So for many women, especially those who aspire to become leaders, I can tell you, it pretty much comes down to communication style, how you listen to others, how you facilitate meetings, how you present information, whether it's, again, email in writing or verbally, and also how you give direction to others. Those are very, very important points that you want to be strong or develop so that you can progress in your career. Now, these are the pretty much characteristics that will separate you as a woman in tech leader versus the others. Now, notice when we look at warmth, competence, pleasantness, confidence, influence, inclusiveness, drive, really see anything here, you know, that talks about aggressiveness or any of the characteristics that we would consider to be masculine. And that's because a big part of being a woman leader is being authentic, is being who you are. And we're going to talk about that a little more. So, you know, being able, and some of these characteristics come naturally to us as women, right? And that's a benefit. But I can tell you that when you develop a combination of these characteristics, it really positions you as a successful woman who's also standing in her power with her own innate qualities. Now, you might wonder, who's this lady and why should I listen to her? Well, will it be okay if I take a minute to introduce myself? My name is Marilyn Rousseau. I am a speaker. I'm also a consultant. I enjoy being a women empowerment coach. I've been a women empowerment coach now for about maybe 7 years. I am also a breast cancer survivor. Yay. Probably see why I like pink. I have over 30 years of experience as a woman in technology, and I know I'm dating myself. And my expertise has been primarily in database technologies. I have worked probably over 20 years as a senior database administrator, also developer and team leader. As far as my education, I have a master's degree in business administration, bachelor's in computer science, associates in computer engineering. I also have a honorary doctorate in ministry. So sometimes I joke that I have more degrees than the thermometer. Oh, okay. So I am also a social entrepreneur. I've opened a number of businesses here. I live in South Florida, and my businesses are focused on really doing work that elevates humanity. So naturally, I'm a humanitarian. I do have a nonprofit organization called Right to Learn, Global Literacy Project, that's dedicated to the eradication of illiteracy in poor communities. Now, I am a native of the island of Haiti. I've been here many, many years, but you probably detect the accent still there. I am trilingual. I speak English, French, Creole, and some Spanish. And lastly, I'm a mother of 3 and a grandma of 1. Yes, yes. It's a little boy, 4 years old, and he's got me wrapped around his fingers. It is what it is, right? Okay, so let's move on. I have a question for you. And the question is, what's holding you back? Again, let's just be honest. This is a safe space. You know, I'm here to support you and help you grow in your careers. So let's just say, what is it that's holding us back? You know, what is the reason that brings you into this session? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. I'd love to see. Let me see if I can go back. All right, don't be shy. You know, go ahead and drop, you know, what is it that made you interested in, you know, learning more about communication skills for women? And, you know, there we go, imposter syndrome. Yes, I'll tell you, I was a victim of that one myself. Absolutely, that's a huge one for us in IT. I'm going to add some more, you know, probably lack of confidence. You know, we often think that we don't have good ideas or people are not interested in what we have to say. Sometimes we're afraid of being wrong, you know, afraid of being criticized, especially in meetings. It can be intimidating at times. And, you know, we're not aware of good strategies to help us communicate better. So these are things that I know have held me back in the past, and I know I'm not alone. You know, there may be some others, like it says here, to get to leadership position in male-dominated IT world. Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why I'm here. You know, I guess what I'm trying to say here, I can't stress enough the importance of learning to communicate effectively, because the reality is, yes, we are in a male-dominated industry. There's nothing we can do about it right now. However, we have to learn to adjust ourselves, right, so that we can create the respect that we deserve. We can create the influence and also be looked at for opportunities. And there are specific skills that you do need to develop in order to have that. Yes, I see someone says your tone. Absolutely. So all of these are very, very important, reasons why we often don't speak up. Now I'm going to switch back to the presentation. Okay. So, got some slides here. Let me know if this resonates with any of you. You know, maybe you feel the need to do more to prove yourself. Tired. Or maybe you don't speak up because of fear. Talk about fears, fear of judgment, fear of criticism, fear of failure. I was a victim myself of fear of criticism. I spoke a different language. When I started in the field, I had a very big accent, and I was so self-conscious about myself that I would just not talk. So I was sabotaging my career because of these fears. So it's really important to, acknowledge these. It happens to all of us. But I think in order to elevate ourselves and grow, we also must take a look and say, okay, what is it that's holding me back? Somebody mentioned it, the imposter syndrome. You wouldn't believe how many women in technology suffer from this. I was one of them. Okay. And again, I think it's the fact that sometimes we're intimidated. Sometimes we're not really sure how to act because we're working primarily with men, particularly white males. And so we tend to think that the reason to fit in is to act like the men. And let me tell you, that's the biggest mistake you could ever do, because it comes across completely wrong, and we can talk about that a little later. Maybe you're being treated unfairly. This is a reality. Sometimes, at work by your boss or your peers, and you're very frustrated. And so when you communicate, you come across as someone who's very mad, angry, or perhaps aggressive. And it's because of these underlying reasons, right? So what is it that you want? Go ahead and type in the chat. I'd love to know what you'd like to get out of today's session. Back and see if I can tell. Yes, I see Rada said for sure. And our bird says absolutely. Okay, yes. Having a later start in the IT field and competing with younger team members. Yes, all of these, tend to be challenges in our ability to communicate effectively. So go ahead and tell me, what is it that you'd like to get? What do you want for yourself? Okay, when you think of your career, what do you want? Do you want to be promoted? Do you want to be, do you want to step into a leadership position? Do you want to make more money? Or, are you looking to have more influence and be respected and treated fairly? Whatever it is that you want, you have got to learn to communicate it effectively for yourself. This is part of standing into your power and taking control for what you need and for your own career growth and development. Looks like someone has a question. Liz, do you have a question? I see your hand is raised. If you do, please go ahead and unmute yourself. Unless it was just an oversight. Okay. Oh, earlier. Okay. Okay, so do you have a question right now, or can I continue? Okay, so I'll go ahead and continue. Switch back. So regardless of what it is that you want, and we all want different things, and that's okay, there's good news. The good news is problems have solutions. Yes. So would it be okay if I shared with you how you can improve your communication skills so that you can become a better leader, a better influencer, a better friend, and a better team? Yeah. To you about my top 5 secrets to powerful communication for women in data. Over my career, which spans like 32 years, I can't believe it, I have learned a lot of lessons. I've made a lot of mistakes. I didn't quite understand how to work my way around the industry. I got into technology at a very young age. And, I had a lot of challenges. I not only was a woman, a minority woman, and who also came from a different country. So I was challenged with learning the culture and understanding how do I fit into this world that doesn't really look like the world I came from. And in doing so, there's no, I guess you can understand that at first it's very intimidating. And so all throughout my career, I realized for myself that I was I had some characteristics that were not serving me. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have like a mentor who could have helped me and say, here, Marilyn, this is the way to things. So I had to make my own mistakes, learn from them, and then move on. So this was the reason I think why I really got involved into personal development, professional development. Very early on in my career, I knew I wanted better for myself. I wanted to grow and I needed to do something to, be seen. So over the years, I went back, thought about all of the skills that have helped me become successful in my career. Today I work for a large healthcare organization, corporate manager of database administration, primarily supporting SQL Server and Oracle. I've also done a lot of work for other Fortune 500 companies. And, it took time, but once I was able to really strengthen and develop my communication skills, it made a world of difference in others' ability to see my expertise and also, give me the respect that I deserved. So let's go ahead and get started. So in reality, I have created 12 steps. The entire process methodology to communicating powerfully is a series of 12 steps of different characteristics, traits that will help you get there. But for the purposes of today's presentation, because I don't have a whole lot of time, we're going to go over the first 5. And you can get the rest later. I promise I will give you a way to the other 7, okay? All right. Here are the 5 secrets to powerful communication for us women. Number 1, know your communication style. Number 2, use your authentic voice. Number 3, be aware of your body language. Number 4, develop self-confidence. And number 5, be prepared at all times. Now we're going to go over each one of these individually. So, knowing your communication style. This is really about self-awareness. Self-awareness is really knowing who you are, what you stand for, what are your beliefs, your values, and how you choose to communicate your personal brand. When we talk about personal brand, is who you are, how you show up, how people will perceive you. This is really, really important, usually when I work with women and I conduct retreats, we spend a lot of time working on the self-awareness piece, because unless you really know who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, you're really not able to move forward and identify the challenges that you have and which ones you need to work on. So it's really important that we take time, just be honest with ourselves, say, okay, you know what, this is who I am, this is how I like to work, and this is my style. And then it doesn't mean that something's wrong with it. It's, we may need to adjust certain parts of your communication style, but at least if you know where you're starting from, then you know where you're going. Now, part of knowing your communication style is also knowing what are the different styles that exist. Typically, you have passive communicator. The passive communicator usually has a reluctance or inability to express themselves with confidence. This person is typically a quiet person, shy, and rarely speaks up and rarely shares what they think or feel. And I really fall, personally, naturally, I fell into that characteristic. Keeping your thoughts to yourself, taking extreme amount of time to think things through before you say anything, kind of expecting other people to read our minds. And, since usually we don't show a whole lot of body language or facial expressions. I have a story about that because I remember I was facilitating a class for a bunch of, women at church. And here I am, I'm trying to be very laid back, relaxed, and they were very serious. And, I wasn't sure if I was doing a good job or not because, as I talk and I try to, make little jokes, nobody laughed. And then at the end, I asked for feedback and I was shocked because they were all saying, oh, this was wonderful. We enjoyed it. I'm like, really? I couldn't see a thing on their faces. So, obviously I realized, most of them were very passive in their communication styles because they weren't expressive. So, just kind of pay attention to that. The next style is aggressive. The aggressive communicator, we all know, tends to be intimidating, sometimes demeaning, and degrades other person. The behavior that they tend to exhibit is one where they put other people down, and it causes defensiveness and hurt. We're all familiar with the bully from grade school, right? And but we do meet these aggressive communicators, and their intent is really in getting in your way. And they usually want to do that because they're probably themselves not feeling seen, and that's their way of I guess, getting attention. So the classic aggressive communicator, usually is the one who will tend to dominate meetings, right? We all know at least one in our lifetime where we've sat with some people and they just dominate the meeting. So pay very attention to this type of communicator. And then you got the passive and aggressive, which kind of is a, combination of both, and they exhibit it at times. You can see both of it show up. And also, lastly, we have the assertive communicator. So obviously, the assertive communicator is the best because that person communicates what they think, what they feel, what they believe, stand up for their rights, and are really, very, very cordial, very personable in the delivery of their message. So, question for you to think about: how have you worked around your style to get better results? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. I'd love to see what you have to say. And I have another question for you. What challenges have you experienced with your own natural style? I know for myself, the challenge is I had a tendency to be quiet, so people didn't really know what was in my mind. So I had to learn to speak up more often. Think about the challenges that you've experienced. So the second secret is using your authentic voice. Now, using your authentic voice is about being you. That's all it is. You know, it's just speaking what we call authentically in your own voice. But it's important to know the difference though between casual and business communication. Okay, but just being you, and it's part of the self-awareness piece. Find out who you are. You know, don't try to speak like a man or try to speak with somebody else's accent. It doesn't work. Trust me. All right, just, you know, learn to speak in your own voice, to be you with your own thoughts, so that you don't feel intimidated, but you feel okay, you're congruent. Your communication and your body language will be congruent. So next is what's important: your identity, your vision, impact that you're looking to make, and mastery. That's really important. You know, make sure whatever it is that you do, that you develop expertise in it, because when you know what you're talking about, you automatically become much more confident and much more comfortable when speaking in your own voice. Body language is the third one. This one is huge, 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 huge. Let me tell you, 93% of communication is non-verbal in nature. So usually it's not so much what you say, but people are watching your body language. So that's why it's important that what you're saying is in agreement with what they're seeing. Okay, sometimes we don't realize that, but look at the picture on the right here. Someone who's insecure has a tendency to have like their back is rounded, you know, they're facing the ground, and that portrays a different image than someone who's standing up straight. So be very much aware of your body language. The last, one before last is to develop self-confidence. That one, it's not easy, but it's doable. Okay, it's important to develop that self-confidence, because this is what's going to get you respect, going to get people to listen to you, and also for you to develop influence. And the last one is to be prepared at all times. You know, meetings, we all know that meetings is a big part of the work that we do. And it's important that you show up in meetings as prepared, whether you're running the meeting or you're going into someone else's meeting. If it's your own meeting, have your agenda ready. You know exactly what we're going to talk about. Control the meeting, okay, and make sure you end on time. If it's someone else's meeting, find out what the meeting is going to be about, and make sure you, you do your research. Perhaps you prepare on the topic. You find out even what are some of the objections that may come up, and prepare to respond to these things. That's important, because it's going to, show that you are prepared, you are an expert and a professional at what you do. Here are the steps for being prepared. Review the objectives, prepare your ideas, know the objections, rehearse, practice, and evaluate and improve, okay? Each time you do a meeting, find out what went well, what didn't go well, and then improve on it. That's how you grow. So here they are. I gotta go, we have about 5 minutes left. So here are the 5 secrets that we went over. Again, communication style, using your authentic voice, being aware of your body language, developing self-confidence, and being prepared at all times. Now, I did promise that I would give you a free gift at the end, so I'm going to hold on to my promise. All right. Now, I did also mention that there are 12 steps to communicating powerfully. Today, we went over 5. So I would love to give you the other 7 steps. And also, I'm offering to give you a free session with me, completely free. Now, usually I charge $197 for a 30-minute coaching session, but because you're here and I'm so happy to contribute to the community, I'm offering it to you for free. Here's what you need to do. Grab your phones, go to Marilyn Marilyn360.com. If you're interested in, obviously, if you're interested in taking me up on this. And what I'll do is not only I'll share all the 12 steps with you, but I'll also do an assessment with you to find out where you are and where you need to be, like the areas that you will want to improve on, so that you have an idea exactly what you need to focus on. So I promise to really build value for you during that 30-minute, okay? So go to Marilyn360.com. Once you get there, you will see an option that says contact. So go ahead and click on contact. And then at the bottom, you'll see where it says schedule a call. So click on that. And then my calendar will show up, and you can go ahead and schedule whatever time works for you, and then we'll get together. Okay. So I also put down some resources for you. I didn't want to overwhelm you, but I think these are great resources. First of all, you probably have heard Toastmasters International. This was something that an organization that I joined very early on in my career. It helped me tremendously, especially with public speaking, being able to get up and talk confidently. It's really, really good. So see if you have one in your area and, check it out. Also, here's a book that I recommend, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's great, by Dale Carnegie. And the second book that I would highly recommend is the Little Black Book of Connections, 615 Assets for Networking Your Way to Rich Relationships, by Jeffrey Gardner. So check those out, and I hope they really help you. All right. Now, we're ending, and I usually like to end with some of my favorite quotes, so I'd love to share them with you. First one says, don't let someone else's opinion of you become your reality. We all know how intimidating it can get. And sometimes, people say things, or whatever situation we come across, do not let any of this stop you. You have the power to reach your full potential. So invest in yourself and get to where you want to go. The other one is, it says, the only limitations you will ever have are the ones you put upon yourself. Isn't that true? A lot of time we allow fear to hold us back. And fear is definitely something that will keep us from being all that we were created to be. So I guess what I want to say is, we are the ones who hold back, who sabotage our own success. Okay, so pay attention to that. And lastly, this one is my own. As long as you are intentional about growing, communication will be your best secret to success. I believe it 100%. So this is the end of my presentation. I made it, I think, by just 1 minute left. Again, if you'd like to, follow up, you'd like to have questions, I would love to spend 30 minutes with you. So go ahead and book the time here. Otherwise, I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that, this last hour has served you. At least you've learned something about, increasing communication so that you can flourish in your career. I wish you the best. And I look forward to connecting with you. You can check me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear from you and how your career, your journey in technology is going. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.